Hello and welcome back to Suspended Information. I am your host, Dennis Patholkas, and this is Legion Season 3, Episode 2, Chapter 21. It's one of those things I love about Legion is that they never have any kind of titles other than the chapter. And it honestly has not changed since Season 1. It started off Chapter 1 and we're up to Chapter 21 now. So, yeah, it's pretty damn good. That's all I can say. So before I start here, spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the shit out of the episode. If you haven't seen it, go and watch the episode, then come on back. This will be a video you can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. And wow. This season has not disappointed so far. It's again, like I said, you're either going to love this show or you're going to hate it. It might not float your boat. You might find it too pretentious, as some people have said, too navel gazing, too weird, whatever. It's different tastes, different strokes for different folks, if you will. And it's pretty damn good as far as I'm concerned. It's something that's different, something I haven't seen, and it's actually fairly comic. It's a comic book show is really what it is. It was a comic book show before Doom Patrol came out. So yeah, if it floats your boat, it floats. Yeah, exactly. Viking Bitch, exactly. Dennis, you're late wooing the lady next door. I hope not, because it's not a lady next door. So no, not happening. And besides that, they're in a committed relationship, and yeah, I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, ostensibly on Legion, which I loved. That was, and one thing I have to admit, John Hamm as the narrator is one of those giddy little things that makes me happy, quite honestly. And it took me a while to realize it was John Hamm that was doing the narration of it. But it's so much fun having him just do the narration and just using these pretentious words, I guess you could say, the ostensibly. And yes, Noah Hawley goes into metaphysics. He goes into drugs. Yeah, exactly, Robert M. I picked the wrong season to give up hallucinogenic drugs. Oh man, yeah, it is one of those things that if you're on drugs, it's really gonna fuck with your head. And if you're not on drugs, you're kind of gonna wish that you were at some point, just so you can understand some stuff that was going on. Uh, Joe, I will calm down on the massive amount of testosterone I put out there. Where's Movie Finobi? That'll bring the testosterone levels down. See what I did? I even gave him a burn when he's not here. So, so we open up with this Charlie Brown song playing, and it was something that was released in the 60s, if I remember correctly. It was a Charlie Brown song, and we see David meditating, and he's floating as he's meditating, and Sid flying in her airplane. And they're kind of going back and forth between the two. And it's, it's really about David feeling sorry for himself and still pining for Sid at this point. And this whole thing of, see, I know people are saying, okay, at the end of season 2, we saw David had drugged Sid and forced her to love him, did things with her mind. I'm still not sure of that because we have Farouk involved. And I don't know really if we're going to find out that whole thing, if it was real. Farouk is fucking with a lot of people's minds right now, just as much as David is. David, yes, has taken off the gloves with certain people and screwing with their minds, but I don't think he ever did that with Sid, to tell you the truth. And that might be the reason why he destroys the world, is because he's being forced to think that he actually did this to her and can't live with the consequences of that. which would be a really fucked up thing for Farouk to do, quite honestly. Yeah, I don't know why they're all well, he screwed with their mind, Viking bitch. Farouk actually did something to them, so division is all against him. And wow, had a little something flying there. Yeah, division is all against him, and I'm fairly sure Farouk did something to their minds, and that is because David is a threat to him at this point. He still wants David's body to inhabit, but David is still a threat to him as well. In Fanobi's defense, his estrogen levels are a side effect of spacebonium and not having Friday off. Yeah, exactly. Uh, so yeah, and I love how we're hearing the consequences of time travel, of course, which is chapter 20, and it's all in Japanese, or actually, it's all in Chinese. It's in Mandarin, and um, basically it says, the consequence of time travel, what do you hope to accomplish? It's going through all these different scenarios. Like, you need to think things out before you travel back. You don't want to screw things up. Who are you going to interact with when you're going through time? Consider the consequences of your actions. And as Switch is listening to this, Lenny comes into the commune, and basically Switch is in the middle of a really noisy room, and she's just listening to her tapes, and we see everyone smoking and, drinking, screwing, whatever they're doing in there. And Lenny shoos everybody out and says, everyone needs to leave. I need the room. And she takes off Switch's headphones. She goes, "Oh, that's really nice. What is that? Is that Japanese?" And she goes, "No, it's Chinese," is what Switch tells her. And there is no fly. There is a fly. Come on. Um, she tells her what it is. And then Lenny says, David wants to see you. And then Lenny is kind of pissed off at Switch and kind of wants to mark her territory and says, I'm his right hand man. You're not. So it goes from David to me to you in that order. You got it? Which I had a little bit of a real genius moment there for a minute, where Kent is talking to the kid Mitch, and he says it goes from Hathaway to me to you, and I don't know why, but it just did. It really, really did. Yeah, those blue contacts are very creepy too, and they did something to her nose as well. They altered her face in some way so it doesn't look like Aubrey Plaza, and there's something off about her, and they did it purposely because she's now inhabiting David's sister's body. And yeah, it's just very weird. It's not Botox marks, but yeah, it's an odd thing. It's disconcerting, and they're also using blue light on her as well. Excuse me, black light. They're using a little bit of black light on her, and you can tell it's only her, which is really kind of, it's doing some creepy shit to her face. So it's really the lighting that they're doing, and I'm loving what he does visually and what he does with the audio as well. The audio is all kinds of messed up, which we'll get into here a little bit as well. So she brings him over to David, and he asks Switch to sit down. Then he tells Lenny, he goes, "Thank you, you can go." And Lenny looks at him kind of pissed off, and he says, and David puts a thought into her head that you're hungry and you're happy, is what he tells her. And she goes, "Well, this girl's going to get herself something to eat," which I thought was kind of interesting. Yeah. That he is still manipulating her pretty damn hard at this point. He keeps rewriting her mind, it seems like, almost all the time, which I think is going to come down and bite him in the ass. So David wants to know how Switch, how she does time travel, and she shows him, she creates a door. She shows him how she does it. And she says the hallway that she can enter. She can go forwards or backwards. That's how it is. And she enters the hallway, the doorway, and he can't enter the doorway at all. And she even puts her hand, he goes, "Hey, can you give me a little help there?" And she puts her hand through and tries to drag him in, and it doesn't work. And she says, "Are you mad?" And because he starts hearing his own voices, his inner set of voices, the ones that we saw last season that were all berating him, all the different versions of himself in the multiverse, and all berating him. And he kind of almost gets overwhelmed. He's like, "No, no, I'm not mad. Just a little disappointed, kind of thing. I bet we're gonna have to work on it. We're gonna need to make you a little stronger. We're gonna need to amp it up a little bit," as he puts it. Yeah, David doesn't like to be thwarted. He doesn't like to be denied his everything that he wants at this point. Because at this point, he he is there to well, he says he's to give everyone joy, but not. He's really to make people complacent so they'll do what he wants them to do. And he's not understanding that that's what he's doing to all these people, is that he is, in a way, he's almost like Purple Man from David Tennant from the first season of Jessica Jones, where he actually knows right from wrong, David, but he doesn't care now at this point, and or he is trying to make himself forget about it, and what he's doing to these people, and he's just using them at this point. So that's what I'm looking at it as. The mugs that Switch was drinking from with Carrie were Mondrian painting. Ah, interesting. Yes, he is Purple Man, only blue. Well, now we know why it's not always blue. It's always blue, though. So yeah, he says, we just need to turn up your power just a little bit, but David knows a guy that can help. And of course, we cut over to Carrie inside the aircraft, and he's tinkering with some stuff, of course. And Clark is talking, well, literally interrogating Squirrel. Squirrel is sitting inside a room with at the nose of the plane there, and he could see, how high up they are. And Clark is basically telling him, you know what, this is pressure sensitive. Don't tap on the floor, otherwise you're going to fall through. And he goes, it's going to be interesting though. If you fall, he goes, I don't know if your, lungs will freeze first, or, if you'll, what's going to kill you first, kind of thing. And he wants to know where the house went, of course, is what he's asking Squirrel. Where'd the house go? And Squirrel's like, house? What do you mean? He goes, where you sleep, where David is. Where's David? And Squirrel looks at him kind of weird, and he pulls out a picture and he shows him what David looks like. And Squirrel starts singing Jump from Crisscross, which the only reason why I know what it is, well, also I'm that old, and I also have it on one of my playlists of multiple songs, and it comes up every now and then. And it's a good song, by the way. I thought that was just kind of funny that he just keeps singing that. And finally, Clark's like, yeah, jump. And he hits the button and opens up the door and drops Squirrel. And he walks back to Carrie, and he's like, parachute. Parachute. Did you deploy the parachute? Deploy the parachute is what he tells Carrie. And Carrie's like, what? He goes, deploy the parachute now. And so Carrie hits the parachute, and we see like a little 8-bit digital thing kind of going on where we see the parachute deploy. He goes, parachute's deployed, but he's still falling kind of rapidly. I don't know if he's going to make it. Oh, no, he made it. It's slowing him down, but not fast enough. He might have twisted his ankle. He's down on the ground now. It's wiggity, 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 whack. Exactly, Joe. Yeah, I can never, it's years and years of trying to sing that part, and you can't do it. David Chappelle knows how to do it, though. Dave Chappelle knows how to do that, as he called himself a biggity, biggity bitch when he was thinking back on his 19-year-old self. So, yes, from the Dave Chappelle show. See how I jump around? See, get that? Jump around? I'm sorry. I'll keep the puns at a minimum as much as I can. So they are actually following Squirrel on foot because, of course, they want him to lead them back to David at this point. And he's limping down the street. We see him walking, and who pulls up in their magic bus but Lenny, the breakfast queen. And she opens up the back of the bus, and she has the blue water that he wants, the drug that he needs, and tells him to get in the van. Yeah. Thank you, Morks. Pun score 9.2, but it's only a 3 from the East German judge. mainly because of the language barrier. And of course, Division has a lock on Lenny now at this point. So Sid is looking at the hole in the ground, and she has the tooth that was sitting there, the tooth that we don't know who it came from. And she starts thinking about David, and she says, David, what have you done? And David is meditating, and he hears it. And he appears in astral form, and he says, you know, I didn't want to scare you. And she goes, no, you won't frighten me, you know. And you know, basically she tells him to turn himself in at this point. And he just says, I wanted to be left alone. Me and my people, I just want to be left alone. And so she starts berating him about what he's doing to all these people, that he is holding them. And he's like, I've given them contentment, joy. He goes, that's all I'm trying to do. He goes, I just want to be left alone. And then he tries to explain himself a little bit about what happened between him and her. And she doesn't want, you know, anything to do with it. But he even tries to apologize to her at one point. And she says that he never really saw her as she was. And then he tries to actually project into her head what he saw when he first saw her. And she shrugs it off. She goes, don't do that. And again, he's trying to violate her. He's trying to have his way, the way he wants people to see things like he says, you know, he sees them. And it's water, by the way, that I'm drinking. And then he tells her about the time traveler and how she killed him twice at that point. And she says, well, he even says, you know, if we could go back in time, she goes, what do you need the time traveler for anyway? He goes, well, we can go back and I can undo what I did to you. He goes, all you need to do is pick the time. Let me know what it is. And she's like, no, it doesn't work that way. She goes, because you're still going to be you. You're the person who destroys the world. You end up destroying the world. Now, the only person who's told her this really is her future self and Farouk. So I'm pretty sure that that future self and Farouk are one and the same. And I'll get into that theory here in a little bit as we go further along the rabbit hole. And so as she's saying that basically, you know, he needs to turn himself in, and he goes, why? So you can medicate me, so you can fix me, so you can kill me, kind of thing. And as she is, of course, denying him and spurning him, he's getting more and more angry. And we see him pumping hate. He's literally the tubes of blue that were inside the commune that are basically, you see the tubes pumping out from his room out into the commune turn to red and to anger. And what the fuck is up with the giant pig with teats that have smoke coming out of them? I'm still trying to figure that one out. But yeah, it's one of those weird things. And he's basically pumping hate now into the commune, and we see everyone kind of getting agitated and worked up and everything. So we see Lenny's bus at a distance, like way up high, and then we see Lenny's bus pulling into a barn, and Squirrel's like, is this it? Are we home? Or are we back at the house? And Lenny doesn't say anything, just gets out, walks out with the girls. She has a whole bunch of girls with her, and they all walk into the forest. Squirrel apprehensively gets out and starts following them. And he's following through the trees, and we're hearing like radio chatter, like police radio chatter in a way. And he follows everything, you know, in there. There's lights in the trees and everything, like light bulbs. And he walks out into the clearing where we have a tea party set up with Lenny as the Mad Hatter at the end there. And she's asking him, you know, what did the little birdie, what did he say? What did he sing? And teats. Yes, I said teats, Joe. That is what the sow had on her, was teats. And yeah, she's basically saying, what did he tell her? And he says, I didn't say any, you know, basically he was on the airplane is what he said. That's all it was, that he was, but can he have his drugs? All he wants is his drugs. And she goes, oh, the blue water is for beginners. You don't want that. She goes, you want this. And so we see the little bong dude that her and David had been smoking from before, the little fat guy with the pipe sticking out. And of course, they put the blue flower in the top there, and smoke starts coming out. And of course, he smokes that because he's pretty addicted now at this point. And Division's watching all this, and they're like, they're doing drugs. Okay, they're doing drugs. And Carrie is just pacing back and forth. Like, can we go? Can we go in? Can we go in? Can we go in? And the mustaches, of course, are saying there is a 67% probability that if they go in, that none of the people will survive that are there because they'll fight to the death, kind of thing. And so they said, what about what has Mainframe said about catching Lenny? What are our chances then? And Mainframe says authorized, of course. So they're going in at this point. So the girls with Lenny are ready to fight. Pretty much, they have knives, and when Carrie comes in with her katana, she actually has to duck a knife that comes flying at her and gets stuck in the tree. And Carrie has them release the net and captures the girls. And Carrie's like, huh, she's kind of miffed that she didn't get to fight anybody except for Squirrel. Squirrel comes flying out of nowhere and jumps onto Carrie, and of course they knock him out. But where's Lenny? Everyone wants to know where the hell Lenny is. And Carrie is inside the back of the van, kind of radioing. He's monitoring his stuff from there. And we see Lenny jump into the truck that he's in and take off with Carrie. There we go. Shadow King plus Bong equals evil Bong. Yes, it does. Drugs are bad, okay? So Farouk is in a piano, sitting at a piano playing Oh Christmas Tree. It's all shot in black and white. And as he's pulling back, we're seeing that he's in a drag bar. Those are not women, by the way. Those are men dressed up as women. Yes. Or however you want to call them. Yes. So, and it gets a little jazzier as it's going along. And Sid comes in and says, we need to talk. And so we go, we see Farouk sitting there drinking tea, actually. And she tells him that David thinks that he's the victim. And Farouk says, well, it's a false reality that he has. And they need to stop the time traveler first in order to get to him. And Sid says, well, if they only knew how he destroys the world, then they can actually stop that from happening. And Farouk keeps turning her away from that. Like, she's asked this multiple times in the second season, is how does he destroy the world? We still don't know how he destroys the world. And every time she asks Farouk about this, he keeps turning it away and turning it away. It wasn't that great of a drag Viking bitch. If you take a look, those were some pretty muscular dudes that were walking around there. So at first I was like, that woman looks kind of, they're using a plus size model. I'm like, nope, that's not a woman. Okay. So that's a man, baby. Sorry. All right, I'll stop. And yeah, so Farouk keeps going around. He's the problem of all this shit that's going on. He's the one that will set off David. Yeah. Really, really is. And Farouk even suggests that she seduce David in order to get to him. And she's like, ew, no, not going to happen. And he says that he'll teach her to lie so well that David will thank her while she's stabbing the knife in his back. Yeah. And it's like, oh man, yeah, he's really got his claws in them in Division, like hardcore at this point, just deep, and he's not letting go. So Carrie wakes up in a room, and a woman comes in with a tray of food, and Carrie hides behind the door when she comes in, and then he hides behind her. And as she's moving along, he's walking behind her. He's just basically shadowing her, and she's looking around with the tray of food. And he picks a fork off of the tray and drops it, and then a spoon. And as she goes to pick it up, he grabs his jacket and runs out the door. Yeah, without her seeing him. So he's walking through the commune, really kind of tripped out by everything. He sees the giant sow with the smoking teats and stops for a second, like I would have done, and gone, what the fuck is that? And then keeps moving. And he gets into David's room, which looks like it is carved out of someplace in the desert with a big chimney, almost, if you will, like a naturally carved chimney, if you will. And David floats down from out of there and says, I was thinking about something you told me at the trial, about at my trial. And Carrie's like, just don't kill me. He's like, don't worry, I'm not going to kill you. And he says, what you said about that my mind can't reconcile with the person that I think I am with who you see me as. And he says, I've been wondering about that. And then he says, I want you to build me a tank for Switch. She's too young, I think, and I don't think her power's manifested enough. We need to amplify it a bit. And Carrie at first is kind of resistant to it. And of course, he has ways of manipulating Carrie's mind a little bit to, uh, David is fairly fucking powerful at this point, to the point where he is screwing around with Carrie's mind. And we see Carrie sitting in a room with a mirror, and he starts brushing what he thinks is long hair. And as we move around the mirror, we see it's Carrie, and he is reflected in the mirror. And they're talking about what mommy said and what daddy told them. And I get the feeling that I think when mom was around, the girl was around, and when dad was around, the boy was around. And that's how they were kind of doing this. And so they both have similar minds of what's going on. There's something more to the Carries than we're seeing. And that's what David was digging into, what he was doing. He's fucking with Carrie's mind at this point to get in there. And he's standing in front of the mirror at one point, and he sees a very young Carrie in the mirror as well. And he reaches out to her, pulls her out, and starts dancing with her. But she wants to lead as well. She goes, let me lead. And he goes, no, let me lead. This is my dance. And Carrie's like, no, let me lead. And he spins her out. And when he spins her back, it's David. And David says, no, let me lead. And they start dancing. And we realize that this is what David is doing in order to get control of Carrie's mind to make him work for him at this point. And it's actually pretty frightening when you start looking at it this way. And I loved what Noah did. Noah did some really good stuff, made it horrifying, but at the same time palatable. It's really kind of a weird dynamic how he did this. And we see, of course, Carrie waking up on Switch's table as she's preparing tea. And Switch asks him, what he knows about time traveling. He says, well, I have a PhD. And of course, he has a couple of different PhDs in metaphysics and, all kinds of stuff like that. Excuse me, quantum mechanics, not metaphysics. And she tells him if he's ever seen the hallway, that time as a hallway. And he's like, I don't understand what you say. And she shows him that she can create a doorway. And he goes, that's very interesting. And she goes, well, what do you need in order to amplify what I'm doing? And he says, he goes, it seems like we need to amplify the signal so that instead of one, you can get two in. And he goes, I'll need tools and technology. And so she leads him over to a door and opens it up. And who's inside with all the tools and technology but Lenny? She goes, hey, professor, we got all your tech shit. And he goes in, and Lenny shoos away Switch and says, I've got this from here. And as Carrie's going around, and she says, well, what are you doing? Is what she asks Carrie. And Carrie tells her, exactly that he needs to amplify in order to send two people through instead of just one. He needs to amplify her signal. And he goes, I wonder how I'm going to do it. Is it going to be a watch? Is it going to be something wearable? Is it going to be something that she has to go through? He's going through all these different permutations. And then she asks him, well, what is he going to do? And Carrie puts on a pair of headphones and says, save the world. And that's where we leave off on the episode. Pretty damn good, I can say this much. Where, David starts off like he's a reluctant character, that he doesn't want to harm people, but he really does. He's not It's not that he wants to harm people, it's that he wants people to do what he wants them to do, for his own means, because he's been used so much, I believe, in the past, how he's been drugged, um, how he was kept in the mental institution, things like that, that he is now kind of doing the same thing to other people. And I don't know if it's a benevolent devil, Ejar. I think he's just he's free for the first time, and he's testing out his powers, and at the same time he's abusing those powers as well. And yes, exactly, Mr. Roboto, he is really fucked up. He's messed up completely. And he also has no familial figures that were raising him that he can identify with, that could help him. His father, who could have helped him, wasn't in the picture. His father, who could have helped him with his powers, even. And he is damaged. He is very, very damaged at this point. Also, so we saw him posing as Carrie in Carrie's mind. That is what I believe Farouk has done to Sid with future Sid. I believe that was Farouk that was doing that. Because as Farouk says, time exists on the astral plane. You know, you can intercept time travelers on the astral plane. I believe that he intercepted future Sid and was able to manipulate stuff, or even past Sid. That's why we're not finding out how David destroyed the world. That's what the key is. How did David destroy the world? Why did he destroy the world? Once we figure that out, that little piece of the puzzle, then you can solve why it happened. And crazy and selfish is not a great combo. Exactly. Or not even that. It's selfish, and it's really what it is. It's needy, and power is really, it's the first time he's exercising that power, and he is unaware of his limits and doesn't care about them either. And that's what's kind of scary. Yeah. So pretty scary shit. Yeah, Sid is asking the right questions, but following Farouk is not the right way. And she keeps breaking through Farouk's mind stuff, because she's been around David so much that she is kind of aware of this stuff. And so you see her breaking through it every now and then. And Farouk is going an end run around her and goes, okay, she's gotten through this part. Let me do this. She's gotten through that. Let me do that. And she keeps breaking through whatever spell he's putting on all these people. And he keeps having to throw up another wall in front of her. But yeah, she is asking all the right questions. She is the one that's actually going to find out eventually what this is. And I believe she's going to go back to David's side at some point. Feeling his oats. I don't know if it's feeling his oats, Ejar. It's I don't know. It's a kid that wasn't taught correctly, of course, in the first place, was abused quite liberally in his youth, and is now paying back, if you will, people, and getting what he wants by any means necessary at this point. Well, yeah, she did kill David twice. She is the one like the Matrix. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to be a combo of Switch and her that are going to find out. She's going to be, Switch is going to take Sid to the future. We already know this. Sid has to find out what happened, what set off David, what makes him destroy the world. And that's what they're going to use in order to stop him from destroying the world. And maybe even fixing David a little bit in the long run. Magneto got in the way, but we really needed a school for gifted youngsters. I don't know. And yes, we get Harry Lloyd next week. We get, Professor X. And if you didn't realize, David's mother, she was in Mr. Robot. Yeah, she was God, what was his name? The German guy's wife. I can't remember, or the Swedish guy's wife that ended up dying. Yeah, so she plays David's mother in this, which was kind of weird. She used to be a model. I can't remember her name offhand. So, but she's actually a really good actress. She's a very creepy actress too when she wants to be. So I'm actually okay with that. They did a good job. And I guess she has her own problems. There we go. So yeah, some good stuff. Yeah. Legends of Tomorrow also. Oh, that's right. She was in Legends of Tomorrow. That's right. I forgot about that. So, if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button that's down below here. Also, hit the like button. If you don't like what you see, you can hit the dislike button. I just ask that you go down below in the comment section, give me some constructive criticism about what it is you don't like about the show. If you want to see One Iron Beyond live again next, you can hit the bell down below there too. If you've already hit the bell, don't hit it again. It will unclick it. You can go into the bell settings and get as many or as little notifications as you want. You can also see when I'm going to be on live again next by taking a look at my schedule. It's on suspendedfanimation.com. It's also on my Facebook page. I also have a Twitter. I also have an Instagram. The Instagram will be blowing up during Comic-Con, which is in about 2-3 weeks here. I also have a Patreon, which I don't have the tier set up as of yet. I will have the tier set up at some point in time, just not right now. There we go. Every shot in the show, I just can't stop smiling. It's so much fun. Yeah, Battle Marcus, that's what I mean. It's done so damn well. And not a shot is wasted. Not a moment is wasted in this, and that's kind of rare in a show. And it makes you think. It really does. Like, what is he getting at here? And it's more of, and Noah Hawley always said, this is the making of a villain. It's not the making of a hero. It's the making of a villain. So this is what we're seeing is a villain and what has come about. Hitting the end. Oh, you're watching it right now, Joe? Okay. Yeah. I just wish the show wasn't on so late. Some of us have to work on Tuesday. See, it's not on late for me. Well, no, I watch the East Coast feed, so yeah. And yes, it is a fascinating story. I agree with you, Viking Bitch. It's one of those things, and I'm so glad that Noah Hawley is in talks with Marvel right now to his Doctor Doom script is still alive, supposedly. It's awesome. That's all I can say. I want to see this happen. And I guess he's in talks with Marvel. He says, I want to be the person they talk to about doing this stuff, about creating these worlds. And he wants to be more involved in the MCU process. And I think he may be, and I'm not reading, I don't know if I'm reading too much into this, but I want to hope that he actually has something to do with the X-Men reboot, because quite fucking frankly, he's the one that needs to do it. He's the one that I would put all my money into. I mean, just everything to see him do a proper X-Men movie, because we haven't had one, quite honestly. Ejar, someone taking their time and actually cares about what they are making rather than trying to be one of the cool kids. Exactly. And loves what they're doing. That's the whole thing. And is thinking about what they're doing and thinking like 10 steps ahead about what they want, where they want this to go, and not just doing a sequel to do a sequel, but because that is where it leads to. This is organically where it's going. Yeah. Viking Bitch, I have to watch it live so I can come and talk about it with them. Yeah, I have to watch it live too. It's hell on the hand trying to write notes. So back to the question Robert M. Asked a while ago, who do we root for this season? Sid, ourselves? Wow, that's a good question. I don't know who we root for, quite honestly, because you have Farouk on one hand and then you have David. And you got to hope that David isn't going to destroy the world. and that Farouk isn't going to win because obviously Farouk is only in it for himself. And Sid is the one that needs to figure this out to stop David, but also stop Farouk. So she is literally fighting two fronts to try and stop this. And yeah, I don't know where we are on that. You know, who we root for. So there you go. Root for the pig. Yeah, exactly. Root for the breakfast queen. Yeah. There we go. But yeah, some really, really good stuff, man. I mean, I wish all TV could be as interesting as this. But you know what? If all TV was as interesting as this, it would set the bar way too fucking high, and we wouldn't have as much diversity as we have now. We root for frosted breakfast cereal. The worlds have been around long enough. Yeah. Battle Market says just making an exception just for today, but I need to go. Need to wake up in 3 hours. Oh man, yeah, go to sleep, Battle Marcus. You can watch this tomorrow as a video, seriously, and then you can comment that. Thank you for coming in, and man, uh, Joker, you're right about one thing. What's that, Joker? Yeah, good night, Battle Marcus. Get some sleep, man, as much as you can. Christopher Heckman, excuse me, says, I'm rooting for Switch at the very least. Haven't seen today's episode yet, but I want to know what she wants from David. Yeah, that'd be interesting too, why she's following David. And maybe it's just to increase her powers. I don't know. So, Microsoft ebooks will be deleted after ebook. Yeah. About physical media. Yeah, about physical media being king. And yeah, everything you own going back to the cloud, yeah, it disappears. Although you know that ebook, that Microsoft ebook thing, you do get your money back on all those books. You just need to submit the rebate for them. So yeah, I knew that was coming sooner or later. Apple already did it before, so and Amazon has done it too with some of their ebooks. So I'm not surprised, quite honestly. So. All right, guys, it's getting late for those of you on the East Coast, so I'm going to let you guys go. If you if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button down below, hit the like button. Thank you to everyone who's been signing up. We're up to like 268 subscribers right now, which is awesome. And if you're still on the fence about joining up, take a look. There's going to be a video up here. It's a video plucked just from you from my video library, based on everything you've been watching, because YouTube sees everything you've been watching. And if you like that, then hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and you're going to see up here is going to be Saturday Morning Blast Off is what's going to be up there from this Saturday, the last one that happened there. So with that said, Mork says, I'm trying to figure out what the box next to Voltron is. Comic-Con edition. The box next to Voltron. Oh, this one right here, that's Mystique is what that is. I had to put some X-Men stuff up there, and the Wolverine one. The Wolverine Funko was a little too big, so that's actually Mystique. Yeah, it doesn't say it except on the side of the box. Maybe we should just turn it sideways. So, and no, it's not a Comic-Con edition. It's from Funko, believe it or not. It's one of the Funko lines. So, yeah. It's not my fault you choose to. I do not exist on the East Coast there, EJAR. I'm on the West Coast. But I do, I like to keep my East Coast people happy too. But with that said, thank you, everybody. Tomorrow I'm off. Of course, Wednesday is going to be Krypton. We're doing Krypton there. Thursday is 4th of July. So iZombie is going to be off. I'm going to be off. Hopefully you have a good 4th of July. Friday, of course, is going to be Swamp Thing. And Saturday is Saturday Morning Blast Off. I may actually do something a little bit in between there. Who knows? Maybe 4th of July. Take a look at, Stranger Things comes out, but also Spider-Man Far From Home comes out on tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So that might be a thing as well. who knows? Who knows what the week holds for all of us on this one? If you were in the East Coast, you would be water. Just saying, have a great night. And thanks very much for streaming. Thank you, Morks. Thank you, everybody, again, who joined me in the chat. And thank you if you made it this far in the video. I will talk to you guys on Wednesday for Krypton. Join me then. And I got to say, I just love one thing before I say goodbye here, that two of my most watched shows right now, one's DC and one's Marvel based. So Legion and Krypton are the two shows that are the most watched right now. Well, Swamp Thing is too, but not as much as Legion and Krypton. Both of those, it's a DC and a Marvel thing. I'm actually kind of giddy about that. That makes me happy that people love comic stuff. And that's actually what this is all about, man. It's just, being happy about one of the stuff that's coming out here. So you earned some points. Is Swamp Thing a toxic? Oh God. All right, guys. So with that said, thank you, everybody. And I will talk to you on Wednesday. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up stopping drinking the blue water and end up smoking the blue flower, which isn't good because drugs are bad. Okay. I'll talk to you later, everybody. Thanks. Good night.